Okay, Unit 7, Lecture 2A. We're going to start talking about American imperialism in the late 19th, early 20th centuries. Okay, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to put up the whiteboard, reasons for imperialism you need to know, types of imperialism, um, and causes. Here you go. Okay, here's your whiteboard. So imperialism is the economic and political domination of a strong nation over another weaker nation. Okay, and this can be done through economics, money, right? We can twist or coerce behavior from other countries through gifts of money, or politically. And when we talk about politically, generally we're talking about militarily. Okay, so justifications for American imperialism that we need to know: the economic justification, the economic need. American farmers and industry needed new markets for their goods and new sources of raw materials. Okay, social Darwinism, which we talked about last unit, is a justification for imperialism. All right, it's our duty to spread our superior culture to other peoples. Manifest destiny, which you should be familiar with, is a justification for imperialism. It was our God-given duty to expand, our destiny to expand. We've hit the Pacific, keep going. And then Alfred T. Mahan will be a justification for imperialism. He wrote a book, he wrote the book actually, on naval warfare at this time. And Mahan says we need strong navy, lots of big battleships, to keep us threat, and we need to control all of the nearby islands to protect us from threats. Okay, anyone who isn't us is a threat, so we need to control all those countries. And the country with the greatest navy, the biggest navy, strongest navy, will have the greatest impact. Now, another reason we're going to need all these islands, and at some point in the classroom I'll pull up a map of the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean is huge, and all our ships are powered by coal back then, so you need stations, all right? Way stations where you can reload fuel, pick up coal, and fresh fruit and water and things like that, supplies. Okay, many 21st century then American foreign policy issues, according to the SOL, have their origins in America's emergence as a world power at the end of the 19th century, at the end of the 1800s. The growing role of the U.S. In international trade displayed our urge to build, to innovate, and explore new markets. Okay, in short, American businessmen believed they could make huge profits and bring the nation economic prosperity through international trade. So these big businessmen are going to motivate our government, push for our government to expand our borders and our influence. Okay. Washington's farewell address, I want to talk about again briefly here, because in 1796 Washington gives his farewell address, and it set precedent for the United States to pursue a policy of isolationism. And this is another spot in the SOLs I'm not comfortable with and I don't like so much, because the SOL says we're isolationists, and we're never really isolationists. Okay, isolationism is the policy of avoiding involvement in world affairs. We never really do. We're more non-interventionists, okay? Mainly because of our weakness, okay? At least early on. So if we look at, although in the Monroe Doctrine in 1824 the United States had declared itself the protector of the Western Hemisphere, we never could. We're still non-interventionists, okay, because we weren't strong enough at that point to flex our muscles, okay? So we're going to call it isolationist because that's what they say in Richmond, all right? But we're meanwhile pursuing actively foreign trade, all right, foreign involvement. We're just trying to stay out of foreign wars, okay? Non-intervention is more of a proper term, but stick with isolationism for now, okay? So because we're really not strong enough to compete with the old world powers in Europe, we're going to say we're an isolationist nation, okay? But as we industrialize during the second half of the 1800s, businessmen and politicians increasingly looked towards foreign markets as a potential source of American corporate profits. All right, so the desire to gain this wealth is going to lead the U.S. To expand its influence in the world during the late 19th century. So some historians will call this the age of American imperialism, because we gained control of Hawaii, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. To be continued.